10.5. I'm showing it now at minus 9.5, and the total is 218. What do you think about this matchup?
You know, Boston, let's give them a little pass for those 3 losses. They were really decimated with injuries and illness. A lot of guys with the flu last week. Since then, like you said, 2 straight wins. It's a little out of hand, though, with this line. You know, basically double digits. I'm not a big double digits guy in any NBA game. So I was looking at the total on this one. I just couldn't take a Pistons team that it's just all over the place. Blake Griffin, obviously, is out indefinitely. It's just, without him, they just don't. Derrick Rose is giving it his all and is having a great bounce back year. Well, I guess second good year in a row. It might be up for a trade come trade deadline, but he's just too old to carry a team to beat a very good Boston team or even cover. So I would play the total on this one. I like the over 218. Detroit just really can't stop a whole lot of people right now, and Boston can really score. I do think Tatum, he is day-to-day, but I think he'll play tonight. I like the over 218 in Boston tonight.
All right, I like it as well. So we're going to move to the Nets and the 76ers. This seems a little bit lopsided to me. Nets are 18-20. They're heading to Philly. I guess the big thing that we should talk about with the Nets is that Kyrie is back. That's what everyone's been waiting for to happen. He scored 21 points in a 22-point beatdown of the Atlanta Hawks. But the 76ers, 25-16, they're coming off back-to-back road losses to Dallas and Indiana. 2 really strong, solid teams. The Nets beat the 76ers in Brooklyn on December the 15th, 109-89, so there might be a little bit of a revenge factor here. I see the Sixers opened at 6.5, now minus 7.5, and my total, again, is at 218. What do you think about this?
I just don't like this Philly team. The way they go on the road and just play so poorly.
Really
I mean, this is, you know, you can't play Philly on the road ever. Now, granted, they're at home here, but I just don't like teams that, you know, when they have all the talent, which Philly does, they have all the pieces, but they just don't consistently play hard. Right. Nets team, they always played hard. They just been really banged up. Now Kyrie's back. They finally have a go-to player. And, you know, Kyrie looked really good in the opener, like you said, double-digit win against Atlanta. I like the Nets here. Yes, they're just 2-7 against the spread, but a lot of those were without Kyrie. Philly, 3-6-1 against the spread, so not a whole lot better. Give me the 7.5 points with an underdog team getting their leader back tonight.
I like it.
Second game back.
Go Kyrie. It's one of my faves. Duke boy, you know.
Well, it's not one of my favorites, but I like him in this spot.
All right, so we're going to go to the Spurs and Miami. Now, I've been really into the Spurs lately. Ever since they were dropping bombs on Milwaukee, I've been paying a little more attention. And they're all healthy right now, which is kind of rare at this stage of the game. They're 17-21. They're building that record back up. And they're on 2 days rest. So as both of these teams are on 2 days rest. The last game on Sunday, they beat the Toronto Raptors 105-104. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and their last 5 games have been tough ones. They played Toronto, they played Boston, they played the Bucks twice, and Memphis. So you got to give them a little credit for, you know, playing the big guys. Now Miami, on the other hand, coming off of back-to-back losses. They're 27-12, so their record looks a lot better, but they're also 6-4 in the last 10. Justice Winslow is ruled out with back issues, 22-13-2 against the spread. Heat are a 5.5-point favorite at home, and the total is 222. Where do we go?
This is where records can fool you. Mm-hmm. When you look at the overall records, you just think Miami is a clearly better team, and thus they're the 5.5-point favorites. But when you look at recent form, just not the case. Spurs have been playing much better. I think it was the last rapid fire we had. They were at Boston. They won. I liked them in that one as like a 7 or 8 point dog. They won outright. They had followed up a big win at Milwaukee, like you said, when they
19 3-pointers.
So I mean, they've had some big games as of late. They're the much hotter team here. I like them 7-3 and against the spread in the last 10. I think they can get it done money line here, but let's take the points just in case. Maybe a 70-30 split here. Maybe take that 5.5 with 70% of your bet that you would normally bet, and then 30% on the money line. I think Spurs get it done here.
So you're saying just sprinkle it.
Just sprinkle a little bit.
Sprinkle it. Don't get crazy.
That's right.
Okay, so now this is a pretty big matchup, and I don't. It looks like it's going to be a really good game, but I'm not quite sure it is. We're going to talk about the Raptors and the Thunder. Now, the Raptors are 25-14, and their reputation kind of precedes them. They've been really strong, but they're coming off a 105-104 home loss to the Spurs, which we just talked about. But they are on 2 days of rest. They were 5-point favorites in that game against the Spurs, could not cover it. They're 4-6 in their last 10, and it is rare to see the Raptors getting points. They're actually a 2-point dog here. OKC is 23-17, and they have been hot lately. They just beat the Timberwolves 117-104, and Alexander had his first triple-double, 20 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists. That's no laughing matter. And so we're seeing OKC -1, now it's -2. Totals at 213.5. Which side do I take here?
Well, this is two of my favorite teams to bet. So,
I know they are.
This year I've made a lot of
about them
money
all the
betting
time.
both of these teams. And in fact, the Thunder 9-1 against the spread in their last 10. Now I don't give them a whole lot of credit beating Minnesota last time because everybody's beat this banged up Minnesota team. Right. But in that stretch, they have beat some really good teams and covered against some really good teams. Raptors, it's about the injuries. The injuries to this team is all over the place. Chris Paul is having a great year. I really kind of thought maybe Chris Paul was maybe washed up. Maybe, Houston kind of gave up on him. But not the case. He's had a great year. I think he's maybe one of the better, undersung heroes this year. Unsung heroes, I guess I should say.
Well, and he's a veteran. He has the experience, and he doesn't need all the hype and the attention.
Yeah.
He just comes in, he gets his job done, he supports his team. I mean, he's what
just
a
an
guard
insurance
does.
guy. He's just the insurance guy now.
Exactly. And I hoped he would be that for the Rockets. It just didn't really. I'm from Houston, so I always went, man, was it a bad week for Houston in sports, y'all? I'll tell you
Well,
what.
the problem in Houston was he needed the ball.
Right.
Guess what? James Harden's
not going to give it to
He's
you.
going to have the ball in his hand. I thought he played fine there. In fact, they had Golden State beat that 2 years ago, and then the injuries to Paul. It was really the undoing before Golden State had the last 2 games. Right. I like Oklahoma City here. I think you lay the 2 points here. The Raptors haven't quite been the same team away from home. At home this year, they've been pretty much lights out for us better. So I'm going to stay with the hotter of the 2 teams at home. Give me Chris Paul to keep up the hot streak. We'll take the OKC -2. Get in on this now. This line, like you said, has moved already a half a point or a point, depending on where you look at it.
Right. Keep the fire burning. All right, so we are going to do the Wizards and the Bulls. Washington is 13-26, but good news, Bradley Beal is back. He put 25 points up against Chicago. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They're coming off a home loss, 127-116 against the very good Utah Jazz. And now they're going to face the Bulls, who are 14-27. It's funny because this is kind of an even matchup of lesser teams.
Of the bottom.
Right,
of the bottom.
Exactly. So they're coming off a road loss to the Celtics. They're 2-8 in their last 10, despite being all healthy. They have played a pretty tough schedule, Boston and the Pacers and the Mavericks in their last 5, so you kind of want to give them that. Bulls started at -5, now they're at -4.5, and the total's at 227.
This is a tough one. This is, of the games we have, I always think it's the toughest sometimes playing the worst teams, because when they're playing each other, you don't get the lines that you normally have been getting with these 2 teams.
Right.
Chicago is the better team recently. Slightly. Bradley Beal being back is the thing, but I think he'll be a little rusty here. And I just don't know where the Wizards are going as a franchise, or as a team this year, or as a franchise for the future. Because Bradley Beal, I really thought should have probably been traded in the offseason. They probably should have been going for one of the worst records this year and not one of the best records. So that way, you get some picks, get some more picks, high picks, because you're going to stink. But they didn't do that. I'm going to take my lay the 4.5 points with Chicago Bulls. I just think they're slightly a better team, and at home, I think they get it done. But I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. For you guys over bettors, 227 looks high. I think it soars over that one as well.
The last time these 2 played was December 16th, and the Bulls won in overtime by 1 point in Washington. So it's definitely going to be, they're going to go after it.
Thus the 4.5 point line is more than justified.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so moving on. This is our last one. Excuse me. The Blazers and the Rockets. Blazers are 17-24. They beat the Hornets on Monday after back-to-back losses to Milwaukee and Minnesota. Lillard's averaging 27 points, but they're allowing more points than they score, and that is not how you win basketball games. The Rockets, on the other hand, are 26-12. Westbrook's been out. He's been day-to-day, but he is expected to play on Wednesday. They've won 7 of their last 10. They're 19-19 against the spread, and Harden's been putting up like 37 points a game. It's kind of scary. They beat the Blazers 132-108 the last time they met. We've got Houston, started at 7.5, went to 8, now at 8.5, and the total's at 236. Where do we go with this one?
Well, Houston's in a back-to-back too, so it's kind of weird that this line is going up this early. We taped this the night before when, obviously with recent Westbrook has set out some games and been banged up. I wouldn't doubt if he doesn't play this game, or if he does, he plays less role or less minutes. So I'm going to take the Blazers here. Yes, they're just 2-8 against the spread, so it's hard to have a whole lot of faith in a Portland team just 2-8. But Portland does score points. So when you get nearly double digits, I just think, and you get a Rockets team in a back-to-back, I think you have to take the Blazers here, getting to 8.5 points. You hold your breath, and because there's no lead safe when you have Houston, because Houston go 20-0 run in 4 or 5 minutes, as many threes as they shoot. But I think in a back-to-back night, you take the Blazers and get the 8.5 points here.
All right. How do you feel about Melo as an addition to the Blazers? At first, I was totally against it, and now he's kind of like, he's warming me up, I guess.
He's played better than I thought.
Me too.
He's played way better than I thought. He's played better defense. That was the problem towards the end of his career in New York, and even when he was at Houston and Oklahoma City, was he just didn't play any defense at all. And it's hard to have a guy, if he's not going to go out and get you 40 like Harden does, and not play any defense. So he's played better defense. He's hit a couple big shots late, game winner last week. I like Melo. I think he maybe learned his lesson that, you know what, you're not a superstar anymore, and you have to play both ends of the floor. I think I don't know where they'd be without him. That's the key. They would be. I mean, they're not great with him, but they'd be terrible without him. I like him tonight. I think Portland does plenty to get this win.
I remember
to cover, not win. Cover.
Right. No sprinkling on that one.
No
not sprinkle.
Do not. Do not touch the money line here, because Houston at home, they're really good.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I was really shocked to see the OKC when Westbrook went back to OKC. Everyone thought that OKC was it, but
no.
Yeah.
Not the case.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. Up next, we're going to have Nick Geber back with Alex Smarty Pants and the rest of your free picks on picksandparlays.net.
And welcome back to the show. Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, streaming live, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. By the way, we'd love to hear from you during the show. All you have to do is fill out the comment section on any of our social media platforms, and we'll see your comment here in the studio, and our intrepid production crew will put it up on the screen, and I'll respond to it. Make it rude, though. Okay, I mean, let's just get rid of all this niceties. Let's just slam each other. Come on, put it up there. Let's do it. I challenge you. All right, well, speaking of challenging, NFC Divisional Championships just around the corner. Joining me for a good old-fashioned chin wag, our very own Alex Smarty Pants Smart. Alex, how are you today?
Good, G. How's everything?
Well, you know, south of the border, things are good. Now, you are not allowed to come south of the border because I believe you will likely be stopped at the Canadian border fence, which no doubt will be built shortly. But we can talk electronically like this, Smarty Pants. And let's talk about not the Canadian Football Championship, which is called the Grey's Cup. Let's talk the NFC Divisional Championship, which is called the Packers at 49ers. So let's do that one, shall we? San Francisco 14-3, 11-6 against the spread. The Packers 14-3, 11-6 against the spread. Hey, kind of a story there. Last meeting was in Week 12. The Niners won 37-8 in San Francisco. Green Bay, by the way, converted just one of 15 third downs in that game, and Aaron Rodgers got hit 10 times and sacked 5. So the Niners, well, they finished first in passing yards allowed in terms of points per game, but they are 10-2 straight up in the last 12 as a favorite. And the Niners, allow me to say, are not the Seahawks. So total 46, San Francisco 6-point favorites. Does it seem a little low to you, Smarty Pants, or am I doing a disservice to the Packers?
No, I don't think you're doing a disservice to the Packers. The Packers deserve to be disserviced after that embarrassing game in Week 12, like you said, that very embarrassing game. It was 37. What was it? 37. What was the score?
37-8, Smarty Pants. You see, I'm smarter than you.
You are. You know, I'm dyslexic. You have to give me a break. But you know, for one thing for sure, what I noticed about Green Bay is their defense is still a tremendous defense. This is when I first started to watch Green Bay this season. I said I noticed that their defense was probably the best I had seen it in a really long time. Now, I know San Francisco made them look mortal, but you know, the 5 games previous to this game against Seattle last week, the Green Bay did not allow more than 20 points in any game for an average of 14.2 points per game against. I mean, their defense has been amazing, and they're gun shy now. I mean, really gun shy going against San Francisco this week after what happened to them. And it's interesting to note, from a historical perspective at least, that Green Bay, these are all different teams, I'll just throw that in here, have gone under 7 straight times revenging a blowout loss against an opponent by 28 or more points, which this fits the parameters. But what, you know, despite of it being different teams, you have to understand the mindset here of any team. And that is, after getting blown out like that, you are devising a game plan that will base itself on defense and pounding the rock on the ground. And that's what I think we see from Green Bay this week, in a combined score that stays under the total.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Aaron Rodgers, he gonna get hit. Let's just put it that way. He better be prepared for a rough and tumble game, because they haven't proven that they can really protect him all that well, and he's been knocked around a lot. How does that factor into this, Smarty Pants?
Well, you know, it obviously factors in. I mean, from that perspective, are they going to do much scoring? Is it going to be another 8, 9, 10-point output, you know? And God knows. But all I know, can Green Bay win a game, you know, 13-10?
Yeah.
Anything's possible. This is the playoffs.
Yeah, and anything is possible. Give me your take on Garoppolo. I mean, you know, obviously he's an excellent quarterback, but it just seems like his ability to kind of change games as he needs to is a quiet, unsung strength.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, he's proved a lot of people wrong, and maybe even proved Belichick wrong. You know, you're not going to let a guy like that get away from your franchise and then do what he's done. And I mean, he's amazing. We all overlooked how great. We always ask the question week after week, is Jimmy G going to do it again? Is Jimmy G going to do it again? He just keeps doing it. So, until he falls down, you got to think he's going to do it again.
All right. Well, so there you have it. So you're saying take the under. We have a total of 46. Is there a side you want to take here, or we have to go to the site to get it?
No, I'm going to play a side here. I'm going to play a side this week, so I'll have that up at picksandparlays.net.
Okay, you can find Alex's side at picksandparlays.net. He'll have it up there for you. And if you want his expert picks, take full advantage of them. You can do that with 15% off. Use promo code TIE. Let's talk a little NHL, something you Canadians love a lot, although the game has escaped you of late. I will tell you that. No longer the great confines of northern part of North America and Canada. But let's talk NHL. You got a special pick for us today, Smarty Pants?
Yeah, I do. There's only a couple of games on Wednesday night's rotational schedule. One of them involves the St. Louis Blues hosting the Philadelphia Flyers. St. Louis is amazing at home. They're 17-4-3 at home. 7-2-1 their last 10 games overall. 3.8 goals per game. We're talking a team that's got a .906 save percentage. I don't want to go through Philadelphia's crap numbers because we'll be here all night. They're pretty crappy. They do have the odd good game, but this is the NHL, and there's a lot of parity. But what's very interesting here is I see some value in a puck line situation. It's, I don't often take the puck line because of all the variables attached to, laying your money down and that kind of thing. But what's interesting is since last year, St. Louis is 14-1 on the puck line at home versus teams like this, Philadelphia. They fit this parameter of allowing 3 or more goals per game. And this is since about the second half last year. Actually, since the second half last year, they're on a 14-1 puck line run at home against these type of teams. So we're going to take the puck line here. We're going to get plus money, and it's definitely worth it.
Well, hold on. The Blues at home here, or are they at Philly?
Yeah, the Blues are at home. Yes,
wait, the Blues are at home, and there's plus money riding on the Blues on the money line?
Yeah, on the puck line. On the puck line.
Are you kidding me?
Not on the money line.
No, on the puck line. Excuse me, on the puck line.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, on the puck line.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to see how that's where the value is tonight.
That's great stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to, make it a split line, throw a $1.75 on there on top of it, do that too.
That's awesome stuff. All right,
so I don't always recommend that.
So that's the Flyers at the Blues. What's the other match?
What is the other game? Well, let me just see.
I don't know. I ask you.
The other game is Chicago and Montreal. Old
Okay.
teams, the old franchises, and that's an interesting game. I mean, both teams are underperforming, and because of parity in the NHL, you look at a game like this and you don't know which way it's going to go. I mean, good luck. I mean,
this is in Montreal.
I mean, there are always
right?
advantages and parameters, right? There's always advantages and parameters on different nights under different situations. But when you look at two teams like this playing, essentially on the same amount of rest and in the same form, throw it out.
So you wouldn't bet this one at all?
I'm not at this point. No, not at this point. Things could change in the next 24 hours, but not right now.
All right, so the pick is, though, take the puck line, St. Louis, the Blues at home against Philly. And for the NFC Championship, take the under on that game. I think we both think the 9 is going to win that one, though, right?
Yeah. They should win.
They should.
Are they going to cover as a home? They should win. I mean, but this is the playoffs. I mean, get ready for anything. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, of course, the question's not if they win, it's if they cover. But, I do love to sprinkle some of that money line magic on the underdogs and the off chance. By the way, this is just a little technique I use. I'm not recommending it because, quite frankly, I've got the debt collectors outside. They're taking me off to prison here in a minute. But, I like to take a little bit and sprinkle it on a little underdog money line just in case. It's a way of hedging, right?
Yeah, you can do just about anything when you're a hardcore gambler and you have problems and issues. Like, I mean, you can do just about anything.
All right, Alex Smart,
Okay.
always a pleasure. Smarty
All
Pants,
right.
you can find him at picksandparlays.net. Get his picks, his expert picks for you. They're sitting right there. They're just growing slowly, getting better and better, and you can get 15% off. Use promo code TIE. All right, I'm going to step aside, take a break. When I come back, Higgy Pop will join me. Doesn't have the Stooges with him, but he does have some wonderful college basketball free picks. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show, Picks and Parlays. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. It's right there for you if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Of course, if you're listening on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, you're saying, what is he pointing at? I can't see that. Well, you need to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, where we stream throughout the day. And if you missed any part of this show, by the way, when it's concluded, you can find us at the Believe Podcast Network, BLEAV, and you can get all of these free picks whenever you want. Download them to your iPod, your iPad, your Android, your tin hat, and listen to them while you're at the gym. And you can listen to me. It is Sweating with the Oldies. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? College basketball. Let's bring in the Cheesecake Man himself, Higgy Pop. Sean Higgs, how are you, my friend?
I am well today. How are you?
Well, I'm still
Cheesecake Man.
sans cheesecake, I might add.
I'm working on it. We'll get one out to you.
Okay, you keep telling me
It's
that.
tough. It's tough to week. All right, watch. It's going to show up one day at your door.
Well, I will be personally very happy. But let's get some winners at my door, shall we? Let's talk college basketball.
We can do that.
And I am very excited about today. Do you know why? Because today we get to talk about Seton Hall, and I get to do my pirate voice. But we're not going to do that one right now. We're going to get to it. All right, let's start, shall we? Kentucky.
Wait.
What's that?
What about bagel day? What's your favorite bagel? I know you got crappy bagels
I like
out
a
there.
plain bagel with light
bagels.
cream cheese and a heavy slab of lox on top of there. A little bit of onions, some capers, a little tomato on the top. Absolutely delicious, and espresso. That is the perfect breakfast for me. By the way, get it here in Las Vegas at the Bagel Cafe. That is an unpaid endorsement. It's only because I like it.
I'm a marble guy.
You like the marble ones?
Yes.
Yeah. I hear people, only people with serious psychological problems
tuna
like
fish,
the marble
turkey,
bagels.
loaded up. I don't care. I'll have that with anything.
You know, Higgs, there's nothing wrong with you that 300 years of concentrated psychotherapy won't fix.
That's what my wife says.
Okay, let's get to it. Kentucky at South Carolina. The Wildcats, 12-3, 6-8-1 against the spread. They're 8-2, coming off a 76-67 win over Bama. They're 1-0 straight up and against the spread on the road. 3-0 in conference already in the SEC. Ashton Hagans, Johnny Juzang are out for this game. Total's gone over in 4 of the last 5 for the Wildcats, and the Gamecocks. Just kind of got to leave that one right there, okay? The Gamecocks are 8-7. I mean, we did have Feast of the Ass Day yesterday, okay? And then I got the Gamecocks today. I don't know what's going on. We are definitely getting NSFW here. 8-7, 7-8 against the spread. They're 4-6 on a 3-game cooler. They lost their last outing to Tennessee, 55-56. 5-4 straight up, 3-6 against the spread at home. 0-2 in conference. They still haven't won. They've only played 2. Total's gone under in 4 of the last 6. Kentucky, 6-point road favorites for them Wildcats. Those Wildcats are going to just rip those Gamecocks to shreds. Total 136. What say you?
Well, last time we were on talking Kentucky, they were out in Vegas playing Utah, and we're like, let's take Utah there. And that was the first of back-to-back losses for Kentucky, but they've rolled off, 4 in a row, looking pretty good, knocking off Louisville there, and you got South Carolina, 56-55 losers. This is what happens when you're in a close game, when you're 13-22 from the free throw line. Something I like to look at, your free throw shooting. It's free money. You're at the line, clock stop. You shoot 60% as a team, you're not going to win many games. So as much as you kind of like to take a home dog in conference play, I just can't see it here. Kentucky is just clicking on all cylinders. How about 44% their threes the last 4 games? And that was the one game shooting like 20% against Missouri or something. So they're red hot offensively. I'm going to lay the number here. If they're just the better team. I mean, Frank Martin, the guy's always a grinder, and they're, wherever he's at, they're a 20-12 type unit or whatever. But I don't know. Against Calipari, I'm taking them. They're hot. This is where he shines. They kind of start out slow because they always seem to have, the 5 freshmen and stuff like that. But, there is a young team. They start out maybe a little tricky. Here we go, though, conference play. Next thing you know, they're 17-1 in the conference, cruising. And this is what they do. They beat up on bad teams. Carolina is a bad team. They can't shoot straight. So let's go. Hot shooting Kentucky to get it done here, laying the 6.
All right, let's move along. Another SEC matchup, Auburn versus Alabama. Now, in college football, this would be much anticipated. A little less so in college basketball, but still a big rivalry if you're there, let's put it that way. But Auburn are an absolutely spot-on perfect 15-0,
Yeah,
8-7 against the spread. Perfect on the season. Their last game was a 22-point win over the Georgia Bulldogs. They're 9-0 straight up, 4-5 against the spread, 3-0 in conference. They've gone under in 5 of the last 7, and the Crimson Tide, let's just say not so good. 8-7, 12-3 against the spread. They're 6-4 in the last 10. They did lose to Kentucky. We just talked about that. They're 5-1 straight up and against the spread at home. 1-2 in conference play. They're 4-6, 4 out of 6 though, head-to-head with the Tigers. The title's gone over for the Tide in 5 of the last 6 games, and we do have a kind of a juicy total here at 159.
Yeah.
And Auburn, I'm surprised. They are only 2.5-point road favorites. And the reason I say I'm surprised is that, I mean, they have a by far better record. But is that because this is such a big rivalry and they are at Alabama?
Why is that, Nick? We say this all the time. Why do we see an undefeated top 5 team coming in and laying just 2 points? It almost seems like we saw this with Michigan like 2 weeks ago against Illinois, and then they lose to a team that's 8-7, like Alabama. Listen, Alabama, they are what they are. They won't be dancing. You know, maybe NIT, get an NIT future somewhere for them, maybe.
Yeah.
But they put up 80-some points a game. That's why we got a high total, because they'll go shot for shot. They'll run up and down the court. This is real simple handicap for me. I see a big, bad, undefeated team. How about Auburn 27-1 in the last 28 games going back to last year? That's how good these guys have been.
Yeah, they're very good.
So, I don't know. This, again, you might think it's easy, but they only got to win by 2 points on the road, 3 points. I'm not buying it. Alabama outright here. That's it. Money line play. Alabama all day. I might even put it as a service play tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. Alabama.
There's nothing to say about this game. The line,
Wow.
I mean, it's
But
it's
they're
a
rubbish.
joke. I see a game like this, I'm
They're
automatically that's
They're
all right. We'll
dancing
see what
with
happens.
the NIT. I mean, come on.
That's right. You'll get a win here.
I love
Auburn's
it.
got Florida on deck. They got a little bigger opponent on deck.
Hey,
I know. Listen, it's probably like an ESPN game or something. The crowd will be into it. It'll be a wild game. The totals are sitting at 160, which is very high for college.
wow.
But you got 2 teams putting up 80 points a game. This is what you're gonna get.
Love it, Higgy.
Home puppy
Search
here.
and destroy,
Doggy
my
outright.
friend. Search and destroy.
Yeah.
What is the money line on Alabama right now?
Plus 2.5, you're probably getting like 110, 120 maybe. It's not a
Sweet.
huge, It's still plus
Sweet.
money though. We'll take it.
Take that plus money. All right, let's move along. That's definitely a big pick so far. University of Virginia, the Cavaliers against Florida State Seminoles. The Cavaliers 11-4, 4-11 against the spread. By the way, we move along to the ACC here. 6-4, lost the last 2 in a row, including a loss to Syracuse. They're 1-2 straight up and against the spread on the road. They're 3-2 in conference play. Total's gone over in 4 of the last 5. And the Seminoles 14-2. 9-7 against the spread. They're 9-1. They won the last 7 in a row. Last outing was a 10-point win over Wake Forest. Listen to this at home: 8-0 straight up, 4-4 against the spread, 4-1 in conference play. That's their only loss, although it has been in conference. Bolsa Kaprivica is out, and I did pronounce that correctly, so I get some sort of an award for that. The total is over in 4 of the last 6, and the Seminoles, nice home favorites at 6.5. Low-scoring game, though, 112. That seem a little low to you, Higgs?
I got to be honest, Nick. I didn't know we were doing this game, so I'm a little lost on this. I didn't have this game down as one of the games we're doing, so I'm like,
Oh, well,
I
then
thought we were
throw
doing
you
a
a
Hall and
curveball.
Butler, and you threw me a definite curveball here on Florida State. Let me just look at the number real fast here. Give me a second. I'll give you my Well,
make it quick, because then we can move on to my pirate voice, which I'm looking forward to.
Florida State. I mean, it's a big. You're laying 10. Again, this is not something I even looked at, even doing other games today. So I don't want to just throw out something for the
All right.
people's
Well,
sake.
we'll move
but,
along then, shall
yeah.
we? Let's move along. The Seton Hall at Butler. That's
There we
number
go.
1 and number 2 in the Big East. You did have this game, I think.
Yes,
Both
I'm ready
these
for this
teams
game.
are unbeaten so far in conference play. It's the Seton Hall Pirates, laddie. 12-4. 12-4 against the spread. 8-2. Won the last 6 in a row. 3-2 straight up. and against the spread away, 4-0 in conference play. Totals under in 6 of the last 8. The question is, are they going to make the Bulldogs walk the plank? That's what I want to know. The Bulldogs 15-1, 11-4-1 against the spread, 9-1 in the last 10, won the last 6 in a row on top of that. Straight up at home, 9-0, 6-2-1 against the spread, 3-0 in conference play. Butler, the Bulldoggies, look like they might sink those Pirates. 5.5-point home favorites. Total 125.5. Are they going to walk the plank, or are they going to make the Pirates walk their own plank? What say you?
This is a good game we got here. Butler 15-1. Only loss was to Baylor this year, who's very impressive. You got a ranked Seton Hall team, which is nice for the Big East, bringing it back. I gotta say, I'm leaning a little bit with the dog here. I do like Butler. I mean, I thought I didn't think they're gonna be this good. Again, I try not to put a lot into the rankings when they throw out these numbers and stuff, but man, if you were telling me these guys would be top 10, I really didn't think they would be that high right now. But I'm liking the Hall simply because, listen, Powell's back, and this kid loves to shoot. 20-something points a game. He's not afraid to fire. So I get it. Butler giving up, 50-something, 54 points a game. Tough defensively. But I'm getting 5.5. This line might go up a little bit. People might just jump on see the ranking and say, oh, that's a kind of low number. Butler should really roll here. We only got one loss to Baylor, who's really good team. I'm not buying it. We got a guy who loves to fire, not afraid of a big shot. 5 is a nice little number here to get. And again, we got the Hall's two best scorers, 2 good free throw shooters, 2 to boot. So that's always something in our favor when we're on the road. You got guys who can sink their free throws. I'm taking a Hall here, doggy. Maybe we'll sprinkle a little money line in, but the 5 for sure. And total wise, I don't know. I think this line's a little low. I like it over the total.
Okay, we got to go. Before we do, very quickly, last game, Fayetteville Technical Institute against Gaffney A&M. Just kidding, all right? Iggy Pop, thanks a lot. Got to go. Be right back to wrap it up after this.
All right.
All right, welcome back. We've had a great show today here at Picks and Parlays. We are with you every Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter throughout the day. Would love to hear from you. By the way, big hello to our men and women in uniform throughout the world who've been listening on the American Forces Network. Hope you enjoy the show. We love bringing it to you. We've had a lot of free picks today, starting off with Alex Smarty Pants Smart, little NFC and NHL action. Let's recap his picks. We're going to start with some college basketball. We can go backwards. Why don't we do that? Oh, we don't have Alex. He did say take the under on the NFC game. Let's move along to college basketball with Sean Higgs. Seton Hall at Butler, take Seton Hall +5. Kentucky at South Carolina, take Kentucky -6. And Auburn at Alabama, take Alabama -2.5. And then finally, NBA rapid fire. Craig Trapp gave us Nets at 6s, take the Nets +7.5. Spurs at Heat, take the Spurs +5.5. And Raptors at Thunder, take the Thunder -2. Now, I do actually have written down what we did with Smarty Pants. So the good news is we don't have to miss his pick, provided I can find my pick. It was the Flyers at the Blues, and he said take the puck line on the Blues. Puck line on the Blues. And the NFC Championship game, take the under. And he was going to have his side up at Picks and Parlays any moment. So there you have it. My memory, it's because I've been taking my ginkgo biloba supplement. It's really been helping me out a lot, remembering something that happened, all of about 10 minutes ago. All right, hope you've enjoyed the show. I'll be back with you tomorrow, same time, same place, same channel. And remember, right now, 15% off on the website. Use promo code TIE. Everything on the website is at this wonderful discount. Again, promo code TIE. Until tomorrow, bet with the best sporting intelligence you can get. You're going to get it at Picks and Parlays. And when you do, you're going to bet, win, and repeat.